Hi, my name is Casey, and I'm from New York, and today I'll be talking about performing operations on polynomials and rational expressions. Please excuse my handwriting, I'm still new to writing on an iPad. So first, I'm just going to start with a few definitions of terms that I will be using throughout, just to make sure that they're very clear. So to start, a monomial is a single term consisting of a constant multiplied by a variable raised to a whole number power. So here we have an example of 3x. It could be 3x squared. It could be 4x to the sixth. All of those are monomials. And then a polynomial consists of several monomials that are added or subtracted together. So here we see this example of 3x squared plus 5x. So we have 3x as a monomial and 5x as a monomial, so together they're a polynomial. So a coefficient, so just looking at so if we have our variable here, so the constant in front of it is the coefficient. So we have 5 is the coefficient of x cubed in the term 5x cubed. And then lastly, just to talk about what like terms are. So like terms have the same variables and exponents. So here I've written down an example and have the like terms have the same color. So 3x and x are like terms. 4x squared and 5x squared are like terms. And then y is a different term. Or for example, if we had also just like x, y, and plus 3xy. Those two are also, again, like terms. Alrighty, now get on to the next board. So let's look at multiplying polynomials. So if we have these two polynomials, we have x plus 3 multiplied by x plus 5. In order to multiply these together, we can do something called FOILing. So FOIL stands for first, inner, outer, and last. And so the way we do that, so we multiply the first terms together. So first would be in each of the parentheses, so in each of the polynomials, so x times x, and then we get x squared. And then we multiply the inner terms together. So 3 times x gives us 3x. Then the outer terms, x times 5 gives us 5x. And then the last terms, 3 times 5 gives us 15. And then if we combine the like terms, we see the only like terms here are 3x and 5x. So when we combine those, we get 8x. So multiplying these polynomials together, we get x squared plus 8x plus 15. Alrighty, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so here we're looking at solving for the greatest common factor. So this is looking at the greatest factor that we find in all of the terms. So if we look at these terms, we can first start with the coefficients. What do we see that's in each of them? So the greatest common factor of each of these terms is 2, right? And then also we see an x in each of the terms. So we can pull out this greatest common factor. So we see this is 2x, and then we can multiply it by the rest of the terms. So we pull out 2x out of 8x, that gives us 8xy, sorry, that gives us 4y, and we can pull a 2x out of here, and we just get x. And then pull a 2 out x here, we get 7y squared. And then we can't combine any more like terms, but that we can just see, and that knowing the greatest common factor will be helpful in our factoring that we will do on the next slide. So in terms of factoring polynomials, the first, I forgot next step, alrighty. So we can think about polynomials. If we're looking at the quadratic polynomial, we can look at it in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. And then this term is a little bit more complicated, but first, if we pull out the greatest common factor in each term, we see that is 3x. Now we can get it into a form that maybe is a little bit more comfortable to work with. That's x squared minus x minus 6. And then we see here the A would be 1, B would be -1, and C would be -6. So first we took out the greatest common factor, and then the next step is we can write the parentheses we want to factor in into. So 3x, and then we have these two sets of parentheses. We put an x first, and then because the A coefficient is 1, and then so for next we have to look at what are the signs going to be here. And just like kind of like a little thing to think about, here I'll just write, this is actually in your textbook, but so if the signs in your initial problem, so here what this sign is and that sign would be the if, and then the then signs would be the signs that you're going to factor them into. So if we start with, whoops, there we go. We start with plus, that will lead us to plus. We start with minus, that'll lead us to minus. We start with plus, that will lead us to plus, minus. And then if we start with minus, that'll lead us to plus, minus. Alrighty, so what do we see here? It looks like we have negative and negative. So what does that mean for us? So that means that in our new term, we'll have a plus term and a negative term. And so the way that I like to think about this is that you're looking for these two new values that will add to this B value and multiply to this C value. So right now we're looking for two terms that added together give us -1 and multiplied together give us -6. So here you see that if we have x plus 2 minus 3, because 2 plus -3 equals -1, and 2 times -3 equals -6. We can even think about this like this term right here. -1x is plus 2x minus 3x. That's like another way to look at it. And then we break it up and we get our factored polynomial is 3x times x plus 2 times x minus 3. Alrighty, now we can move on to our next slide. And so the last thing that we are going to look at today is simplifying rational expressions. So if we start out with this rational expression of x cubed minus 2x squared minus 24x over x squared minus 7x plus 6, and we want to simplify this, what we're going to want to do is factor both the numerator and the denominator. So we follow those rules. So for factoring the numerator, first we notice that it is, do we see a greatest common factor? I see that would be x. So we can first pull out the x, and then we get x squared minus 2x minus 24 over x squared minus 7x plus 6. And now we can factor both of these terms, the x squared minus 2x minus 24. We can see that this factors to x plus 4 and x minus 6. Because if you notice that 4x minus 6x gets us to -2x, and 4 times -6 equals 24. And then over, we get x minus 1 and x minus 6, because -1 plus -6 equals -7, and -1 times -6 equals 6. And then do you see anywhere where we can reduce this? So we can cross off this polynomial term. And then that leaves us with x over x plus 4 over x minus 1, and we have reduced it as much as we can. Well, I hope that this was helpful. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you.